wants to get started. All right. We here. We got about good 450 people in here. That's good. That's good. That's good. Thank you guys for joining us this early Sunday morning. It's good to be here. I'm not going to take 10% of your revenue. I'm not going to ask for a 10% offering, but if you like to donate on the super chat or you like to donate PayPal or join us on Patreon, it'll be a blessing. But remember, anything you donate to us, we try to put it back into the show. We want to keep bringing you the topics. We want to join with other brothers and sisters to bring a lot of topics. You see George, he's taking care of some business back there. But George, you can unmute yourself, brother.
Yeah, peace. What's up, Phil?
All right, what's going on? So today, I guess is Mr. George Macon. Now, Mr. George Macon, he's a good brother. Now, I'm gonna tell you, George's gonna see this when I put this on the screen here. Now, I actually met George. I met George at the Sinetta TV Awards. And let me make sure I put my proof up here. This is George. George, you was in that Superfly shirt, man. That day, man. Who you met somebody that day, brother? I'm looking at. I forgot about that shirt you had on, boy. Y'all couldn't mess with George that day. Y'all couldn't do it. Well, shout out to George, man. Where you get that shirt from, brother? I gotta know.
I've had that shirt for like 4 years now. I forgot. I brought that from a store downtown a couple years back.
Okay, all right. See, George saying he go out. He ready. He ready. Y'all ain't ready for that, man. I gotta step my game up. I gotta step my game up for real, man. I gotta get on George level.
Hey, I'm over 40, man. I'm from that old school era, man. When we don't go out, we step out.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
That old school era.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So that's part of the reason why we wanted to talk to George Macon today about this topic about can 2018 black men survive the onslaught of white supremacy. Now, the reason why we came up with that topic is because the 2018 black male is not the same as the generation of George and myself. We came up in a different era. So since we came up in a different era, we want to kind of peek into that and say what could happen with the 2018 black male. Why is it that these white supremacists are so bold now? Is it because they see weakness? I mean, so we're going to get all into that topic. But beforehand, George, tell people a little bit about yourself, my brother.
I'm a married man. When people say black power, I believe that the first aspect of black power is holding down a black family. I believe the only way you can really have black power is to have black families, because that's what create black communities. That's what create black wealth, black morality, the spirituality, all got to go together. So I think that you have a lot of people saying black power, but they're not committed to nothing. And you have a lot. You see a lot of that now on these social media platforms. Like where back in the day, you seen families, you seen people out in the forefront. They had the children, they had the families. They were committed to create the community. That don't exist no more. People think that you can have black power without even having a family, but they still having sex. So it's just like I'm just for the family. That's where it starts with me. It starts with family first, and then everything else second. Because I believe we got to restore what white supremacy spent generations trying to destroy, and that was the black family. Destroy the men, take the men out from the forefront, and make the women and children vulnerable. And because they knew that the women is raising the children. So what you get today is from generations of systematic destruction of the family.
Now, I agree with that wholeheartedly, that family is the key, and all this whoredom that's going on both sides. And you're right. The black family was always the nucleus of the community. And I tell people this, even if you guys don't get along for whatever the reason, something happened, at least try to stay in those children's lives and you still be a mother and father. Because, like I said, I'm a realist. I deal with all kind of issues in the real world. The ultimate goal is what you're saying, family. I'm for it. I would love people to get together and have about 5-10 kids like they used to. Because how you going to build a black nation, like you said, with no kids? You can't. You get what I'm saying? But we have, like I say, people in all kind of relationships now, and we have to tackle that. We have to tackle that. and we got to deal with them all. So that's why I'm at dealing with things also, like I said, outside of YouTube. But in the area of the black men, you said they took time to separate the black man from the family. So when, in your opinion, did this initially start?
I mean, I think it started since from the first time we actually got with white people here on these lands. You know, I mean, they already knew. See, when you're dealing with alpha males in the warrior class, the first thing you got to do is destroy the threat, and the biggest threat would be the men. So, I mean, since the time we was on those plantations, they was dividing us, putting us in a subordinate role, and allowing our women over generations to see us have to cow down to up to another group of men, and that would be the white men. So that started from early on, and it began to progress over time. You know what I mean? You know, then you start adding in the end of slavery, Jim Crow, technology. The black woman always witnessed us for the generations have to bow to them, have to go to them for civil rights. We had to go to them for voting rights. We had to, you know, they on the flip side, you know, the white women didn't have to witness that. So it was always a psychological division that they was doing. And I think a lot of us don't understand that. See, a lot of men hear me say that and say, man, I'm not weak. I ain't bowing down to nobody. But there was never a time since we encountered them on this land when we've been in control of our own destiny. So, and this is the division. So by nature, our women may love us, but our women will never respect us the way she respects that white man psychologically, because he provides everything for her.
Yeah, and see, I'm glad you said that. He or she who feeds you, you're going to have a little bit more respect for, right? And this is why it's important and imperative for black men. I'm talking about black men to get themselves financially, together, to get their businesses going, to get their careers, whatever they have going on. Because if you look at the brother who's doing very well for himself, if you notice, George, his whole attitude changes. His whole attitude. Like, you can't tell him nothing about, looking, having his head down, or even putting up with some things that women would put a guy through, because he knows that I'm at a level that I can have a certain caliber of woman, and then women are highly attracted to that as well. So those men in the community, that we have to replicate that as black men. And some of us, like 50 Cent said, a lot of us are hustling backwards. What it mean by that was men chasing women. If 50 say chase the bag, the women start chasing you. That's what you meant by hustling backwards. But let me ask you a question along the lines of family. Do you think that all the things we've been through, like the crack epidemic, which came out with that crime bill from Bill Clinton, which decimated black families, Bill Clinton put in those laws about going to jail for child support. Bill Clinton put in those laws about if you have a felony, you can't stay in an apartment. I mean, Bill Clinton was the worst ever for black families. He was. Why is it, do you think, a lot of black folks still love this guy, even though he's the main one that got us in a lot of trouble in our families?
Because we don't know what white supremacy is, and this is the problem. I did a show on my page where I broke down the difference between white supremacy and white hate. What you just spoke about, white people having the ability to push bills, through Congress and the Senate that will affect your life. White dominant society having the ability to put drugs within your community and then create laws that will put you in prison. That's white supremacy. A white person calling me a nigga is not white supremacy. That's white hate. A police officer coming into my house and shooting me is not white supremacy. That's white hate. White hate is birthed out of white supremacy from the elites giving lower whites privilege to do certain things. So once we understand what white supremacy is as men, it's our job now to begin to fight and create realities for ourselves to live in, because we're being forced now to live vicariously through the system that the elite whites have set up. So, but the majority of us, we don't know what white supremacy is. So, I always tell people we got to redefine just exactly what white supremacy is and who's controlling white supremacy. You know what I mean? So a lot of times we say white supremacy, and I listen, and I say, well, wait a minute, like, wait, no, that white person slapped you in your face. That's not white supremacy. You know, I mean, it's the court systems that's setting laws that's allowing him to stand your ground bullshit and all that. That's allowing these things to happen is white supremacy. That's creating white hate. Them telling you that Christopher Columbus discovered America inside the schools is white supremacy because it's indoctrinating you to live vicariously through their way of thinking. So, you know, we got to redefine. We got to redefine, like, you know, those things. And a lot of us, we don't have a clue on what exactly white supremacy is. And I just sit back sometime and I'm baffled because I think during my father and them era, they knew what white supremacy was, as opposed to white hate. They knew what the, as far as the elites and what they did in government and all these things, the Black Panthers and the Black Liberation Army and some of this, the radical civil rights leaders, they knew what white supremacy was. I don't think that this generation of black men have a clue what white supremacy is.
No, they don't. Well, some of these same black men that you're talking about here, some of those same black men will say that, well, white supremacy don't exist. Some of them will say white supremacy is a myth. And I'm like, how is it a myth and you living in the system? I mean, but I guess if you're born into something, you don't think it's abnormal. You get what I'm saying? Because I tell people this and they ask me, well, you know, what is white supremacy? It's just simply white supremacy is birthed out of racial hatred for black people. They believe that they are supreme. They create a system of supremacy and they want to subjugate all non-white people in that system. And they're going to do it through law. They're going to do it through politics. They're going to do it through education. They're going to do it through war. They're going to do it through you know, any area that you could think of that they would actually control through the utilities. They would do it through anything, you know, like you said, the court system, which is part of law, anything, police, whatever, right? The police are the foot soldiers and enforcement wing of white supremacy. The judges, I mean, we have a two-sided system in the courtrooms. I mean, it's rigged completely against black people. They still have no laws on the books that says that they have to have so many black jurors. It's always mostly white jurors, and as they get off that way, they get convictions that way. I mean, this whole system is, once you break it down, it's just extremely evil, and that's why I call it a system of a doctrine of demons, and the people who follow it are devils. That's how I call it, because the black people, we don't want to subjugate anybody. We don't want to oppress nobody. We just want to live, man. We want to be cool, but we don't understand, George, as you know, black people, African Americans, or you want to call us, that we dealing with a group of people that hate us so much, they're even willing to lose their lives to maintain the system of white supremacy.
Yeah, I think I explain it from this aspect. White supremacy wasn't just created for black people. White supremacy was created for white people. And I'm explain why to the chat room and for people that will see this video. And I want y'all to understand what I'm about to tell you. White supremacy is a system created by the elites because they saw themselves as supreme. But in Europe, they had hundreds of thousands of year wars all throughout Europe. They were slaughtering each other. And in order for them to the elites be able to take over the world, they had to devise a system where they gave the lower whites certain status and class and psychologically condition them to believe. So now look at see this from this aspect, Phil. When you're a kid and Santa Claus is white, Jesus is white, all your inventors is white, anything associated with greatness and power is white, and you look at it through the lens of a person of color, you don't see yourself written into that story. And then when they write you into the story, it's always you losing. So it teaches you to think psychologically to be subordinate to white. But when you're a white person and you're looking at it through those lenses, how does it affect you? See, because everything that we're watching and we complain about, they're watching it too. And it's affecting them to believe that they're superior. But the elite whites are giving them that because who really enforces white supremacy, Phil? The poor whites through the military. They psychologically condition these poor whites to believe that they're superior through the education that these elites create in order for them to be able to stay in the elites or the supreme way. They have poor whites enforcing white supremacy. That's why I said white supremacy is billionaires giving money to Congress to allow the opioids to be pharmaceutical companies to illegally put opioids on the street, misbrand, nobody go to prison. But then when you get caught with oxycodone on the street, they put you in prison, right? So white supremacy is allowing white cops to exact white hate. You never saw J.P. Morgan come and hang a slave, or Andrew Carnegie or John D. Rockefeller. They condition poor whites or lower class whites to do it by conditioning their minds that these other people was less than them. So it's psychologically, white supremacy was created for white people, for the elites, in order to be elite. And this is what they did. So they created this system of why they got us hating each other and everybody running around killing and everything. What are they doing behind the scenes? You have these billionaire and trillionaire whites that you don't even know that's running the system, that's controlling Congress, that's controlling the Senate. This is white supremacy. But the majority of us don't understand how it operates.
Yeah, exactly. And if you did some research into Richard Spencer, and his, what is it, the National Policy Institute, because they come up with names like that for their groups. He had like, is it William Regnery, if I'm not mistaken? He's a billionaire, and he was giving all kind of money to Richard Spencer. So you're right about that. They give money to these poor mouthing white folks from Alabama, Mississippi, or wherever they from, who don't have a job, who pissed off, and they look to blame everybody else but their own people. Because you got to think about it, these white people talking about Trump gonna bring back jobs. Well, if they want to place blame somewhere, and they never want to talk about this, George, they never talk about the white companies that shipped all their manufacturing jobs to China and Taiwan and Mexico and all these other places. They never talk about that. Who they mad at? Black folks. Who they mad at? The illegals. Who they mad at? Everybody. The Muslims. They mad at everybody else but themselves. They will never blame themselves. So let me ask you a question. Now, they tell us to take responsibility for our actions, pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. But this poor class that you're talking about, and that's the main ones who are the biggest white supremacists of all, right? The ones who are going to go to Charlottesville and fight. Why is it that group won't get pissed off at their own people for screwing them?
Because a lot of them are conditioned to believe that they're not being screwed. And so you got to understand something. The same way the education system affects us, it affects them as well. Mm-hmm. See, we got to think. That's why I'm trying to tell people, we too, as black men, we have to learn to think military strategy. We have to learn how to think and not be so reactionary. Before you move, step back and just think for a minute. So now when I'm looking at when we get mad at the way we portrayed through these medias, we get mad at the way the education system has educated us, right? How do you think it affected the white folks? They give you this American flag and they say that you're American and you're dying for something to be this great American, and they worship these Confederates and all these different things, not realizing that you're being used as pawns. You go to the military to get a GI Bill so you can pay for a house and all these different things. Like, white people are indoctrinated and being used by the elites just to carry out their devilish plot and plans. So now I'll give you an example. If you ever want to learn this, go talk to a white supremacist. Go talk to a real white supremacist anti-government. He tell you everything that I'm telling you. The ones that are anti-government. So they know this. They understand this. The problem is we don't understand this. We don't understand the war and the way we're being attacked. And it's on a twofold level. So these elites don't give a fuck about nobody. They kill white, black, every fucking body. But they devise a system to keep everybody on the lower ground fighting against each other. And this is what they've done. Now, that don't mean that I'm letting white people off the hook, because even if that white person is not the elites, he's still conditioned to hate me, so he's my enemy. But I'm telling black men how this thing operates. So you can't vote your way out of it because you don't really have a fucking voice. That's a fake system that they set up to make the people, white people, believe that they have a voice with the government so that they don't rebel. That's the reason why they set this fake ass Democratic, Republican, left-wing, right-wing government up. It's bullshit. If you study and understand where the money goes when you're dealing with the Mercer families and the Sackler families and all these different families, these are the ones that actually give campaign monies to the Senate and the Congress in order to get laws passed, not your fucking vote. But they give a fucking system to make it seem like you have a voice, so that they don't have the race riots that they had in the 1800s and all those different things, when with the Irish and the Italians and all those different things. So we got to study American history. We got to understand how this thing operates. You being a Negro, you at the bottom of the barrel. You at the bottom of the barrel. You don't even have a stake in the race at all. So as black men, I think that we've been conditioned through integration to believe that we do actually have a stake in the race when we don't. Instead of us building something on our own and standing out on our own. We don't know how to do that because we never had to. We never been on our own as far as independent of the system.
Yeah, and I want to say something else about that. There was a secret conference going on called ALEC. I don't know if you heard about ALEC.
Nah, I
and
never.
they was having these senators go to this private meeting, and they literally were writing bills. All they had to do is just the senators had to do was sign these bills, right?
Mhm.
And they all, you got to think about it. They all corrupt up there. Even no matter if it's the black ones, the Congressional Black Caucus, they are more corrupt than the white ones because they don't
They
do nothing for
compromise.
black folk. They don't do nothing for black folk at all. And you can kind of see how the way they move too. It's like, man, like, can you at least fake like you for the community a little bit? You know what I'm
Nah.
saying? I mean, you at least the
Well, you
white
got
ones.
well, you got to understand, son. I'm here in Philadelphia,
Uh-huh.
and the rich history of Philadelphia. You know, when we talk about the first black fraternity here in Philadelphia, where Henry met in 1906,
Right.
the Boise, and well, see, this is the thing. This is during a period of time, we still going through Jim Crow and Plessy versus Ferguson and all those different things in the South. Blacks is still being hung. You still having a separate but equal, so-called. The Boise goes to gets a job at the University of Penn in 1896, but he can't teach the whites. So how do we create these systems without it being compromised? How do you create systems for black people, so-called, when they still hanging and killing black people? Black people still not even considered an equal without it being compromised. I asked anybody in the chat room in the last 100 years, what has any of these black fraternities or black groups really done for black people to create an economic surplus to the point where we can be independent and do business with the corporate structure like all other groups? What has these groups done? Nothing. When has the black church been accountable for the money that the black people give them to the point where we can say, okay, we give this money. This is where our money going. This is what we building. Where's the accountability? So you already know that these systems that so-called black people created is bought and sold and owned by the white dominant society. I want to see. I want somebody to show me something.
Oh, you alluding to these fraternities. I know if you know the history of all these fraternities, all
Yeah,
that's birthed out of the boule. And a lot of
right.
black folks don't even know what the boule is. But the
Steve
boule,
Coakley told us.
yeah, but they are the boule is them set aside black folks that was of means even during the time where our people was extremely oppressed. Even the free black folks, they created a boule system, and it's these certain families that's in this boule system. And a lot of them go through those so-called black fraternities, and they all clicked in with each other. They all doing this Greek this and all the things that they're doing. I remember one time I pissed them off. And say anybody who subscribes to me in those fraternities, I'm not trying to piss you off, but I just got to ask questions. That's it. I'm like, okay,
I'm gonna
why
piss
is
you
it?
off. George
I'm
don't
saying,
care.
why is it? And they got mad at me on Twitter. I said, why is it you got all these black people, all these Greek lettering on, talking about fraternity? I say, you're not Greek, you're African. So where's your Africa? Can we create some African fraternities? I know the Divine Nine. I know what it is. I know where it come from. I know the schools it got started from. It got started because you wanted to be in the white fraternities, and they told your behind, we ain't letting your black behind in our fraternities, so you created your own. I know all the story of the Divine Nine, so
Yeah,
I'm not one of
up
the
in
people that's going to be
Princeton and
talking
all
crap.
those
Give me a
campuses.
second,
Yeah,
George. I'm not one
I'm
of the people
sorry.
that's going to talk crap. I'm telling you, I researched what I'm talking about. So you have all your modern boule. They clicked in good with white supremacy. A lot of them clicked in good with the Democratic Party, which don't do nothing for us at all. Like your Roland Martins of the world. That's Boule. All them little people like that. I was mentioning him, but he's one of many, right? They don't care about us. They don't care about George. They don't care about me. We are the incorrigible Negroes to them. You get what I'm saying? And I'm not saying all of them that's Boule. I'm not saying every black person in the fraternity is a bad person. I'm not saying that, because I don't people say he don't like black people fraternities. That's not what I said. So don't go lie on me. What I'm saying is certain ones that's clicked in with white society, and they don't want us free from racism and white supremacy because they benefit from that. But you can go ahead, George.
I don't like none of them. The hell with them. I don't. I don't. I know it's certain people that's being led astray. So I'm not going to say some of my brothers and sisters, but if a lot of these fraternities, especially these different conservative groups, they've been conditioned to have vitriol towards their own people. Just look at the way they think. Look at the way they talk. Most of these black conservatives, they be the ones that tend to swirl more. They be the ones that tend to adapt to the more conservative way of thinking, or what we would call before the conservative way of thinking, the progressive way of thinking. All you got to do is study the progressive era of America and study their politics, and it's the same as the conservative politics, on the Woodrow Wilson era and all those different things. So these groups, I'm gonna put it this way. These groups have been able to operate and survive, right? But now let's look at the groups that practice black nationality. They call them radical. Just the mere fact of us having this conversation about what we need to do as black people, this will be considered radical. This will be considered going against the grain because you're not allowed to be black. You're not allowed to be proud. No, that's no. Everybody else can be pro their group. You can't be pro black. You even got black people that hate pro black, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. You don't tell the Asian not to be pro Asian. So why am I saying this? When you look at the Black Panthers, which was created out of getting black people getting their ass whooped for generations. You look at the Black Liberation Army. You look at the black radical Christians like the Medgar Evers, the Dr. Kings, the 54 pastors that was over time that was hung in the South, and only one person went to prison for it. Any thought of black nationalism or bringing black people together was frowned upon by the elite, the dominant society, and it was destroyed. It was infiltrated. People were killed. But when you had like the black church or the people toting that line, these black fraternity groups, they was able to just flourish and mosey on along unscathed. So you got to do is look at the 100 years of history and look at who was attacked and look at who wasn't attacked. And that'll let you know what's acceptable in the white dominant society and what wasn't acceptable. So, yeah, go ahead.
And also, I hate to cut y'all, but also these same boule people, when these white supremacists tell you, well, blacks own slaves, it was these boule Negroes that did buy free boule Negroes that did own some slaves. It's true. That did happen. That's why I say that this boule here that's running around, the black community needs to start pointing out all these people, not just, I know they talk about the coon and whatever else. No, that's a low level. So we talking about the boule, the high level that sell us out in the Congressional Black Caucus, the ones who sell us out in the Senate, the one who sell us out everywhere you could think of. Let's say if white folks say, we need to keep the Negroes kind of calm, so let's give them a bill, right? Because they'll do that just to keep us shut up, and they'll be them. Well, I don't think that we should do that. Like, what are you talking about? Because see, they getting paid off. That's what, and I don't understand black folk. They go and they make sure, at least shit right here in Houston, right? Sheila Jackson Lee, Al Green, they go back all the time. And you can see they all got that look about them. They look like $1 million. They don't hardly they come around, they say little things, and then they leave. And we don't hold nobody accountable for nothing in our communities. We don't, because we actually, George, can make politicians do what we want. You know how I know that? When we had all these uprisings happening, you remember that kept happening? Yeah. All of a sudden, DAs was charging cops. That was never happening. Cops would kill black folk, beat black folk, and like, hey, it was one of them things. They were never charged until they started doing a lot of uprising. So we can control politicians. Even through boycotts, we can control politicians. I just got an email about Nike, right? How black folks are powerful enough, and that's just in the wrong way, but they are powerful. It said Nike then made $6 billion ever since they came out with Colin Kaepernick on that ad. So I know we got power in this country. We just don't use it. For us, I'm going to say.
The first thing we got to do if we really want to really see power, black power, is we got to understand who controls the media. Anything that you see come on TV on a big screen is okay before it's aired. A lot of these black people you see that come on the air, they're not for you. And we have to come to the general understanding that a lot of these black people that you see on TV that you think is fighting for you is not for you. They're fucking sellouts. Excuse my language. We have to get to the point where we begin to financially fund our own people. Phil, we got to raise up our own people where we know who they are. We know what their morality is, their spiritual consciousness is. We know these people. Just because somebody is on TV all the time, you see them on CNN on these panels and all this stuff, and they say like they fighting for black people. No, man, they are not for you. These people are handpicked, selected to come on TV. They go ready, air. And then they go in and you got the good guy, the bad guy, and they got you mesmerized by this thing. And you looking at the bad guy and you believe that this black guy is on your side. You don't even know this guy. You never met him. You never walked with him. He's never had to be accountable or responsible to the black community at all. All he got to do is get up there and say some feel good stuff, and people follow these people. And this is the problem. We have to raise up our own people that we know, like literally from children or people that's hand selected by us. Some of these people that's on these networks that saying they fighting for black, like I'll give you an example, like even like Benjamin Crump. Who the hell is Benjamin Crump? Where he come from? Every time somebody black die, they got this dude on TV. He like 0 for 12. How does he keep getting on TV? How does these families keep hiring this dude? Who is he? Where does he come from? I never heard of Benjamin Crump. Where did he come from? He's a civil rights attorney. From where? So we gotta start questioning this stuff, and we gotta stop trusting the system and the people. Like we gotta raise until we begin to raise up our own people from the grassroots and financially fund that. All this stuff is fake. I want to tell the people it's all fake. You've been bamboozled, hoodwinked, led astray, and lied to. And this is why we don't. This is why we keep getting the same result, because we keep doing the same thing, expecting a change. That's the insane people. And to other groups, when they come to America, they look at us like we crazy, because we are decultured. We're not operating from a place of trying to put together a culture. Meaning, if I come to Houston, I'm cool. I'm cool when I'm walking through Fifth Ward, Houston, because I'm black. Just because I'm black. We didn't get to that place yet. So we fall for anything we believe anybody tell us. And I'm telling you, on these big screens that's controlled by people that's not like us, you better be careful, because we ain't raised these people up. These people don't have no accountability to us, man, and they produce nothing. This is why every time something happens, we got to keep marching and asking and begging. Listen, black women, to bring this back to the topic, right? Black women for generations have watched us as men, us, even George Macon, us as men for generations have to march, beg, cry, fight, bleed, everything to get rights from another group of men. She's never seen that other group of men have to do that to get it from us. So can we survive the onslaught in 2018 in white supremacy at the way we're going now, right now? No, until we understand what it is and understand what our role is to the women and the children. See, people, you know what they call me? I watched you yesterday, Phil. You said that people was calling you all kinds of names. Well, you know what they call me? I'm the new simp in the community.
Why are you the simp?
Yeah, I'm the simp because I preach black male accountability. Because I was always taught by my father that when black men start holding each other accountable, when George started holding Phil accountable for his behavior, and Phil started holding me accountable for my behavior, automatically the women and children become protected.
George, hold on. Who made you accountable?
My father. Oh, my father taught me.
No. We can't leave that. Your father made you accountable, right? Okay? The majority of the people that's talking to you either didn't have their father around, yep, or don't even know who their father is, okay? And yep, and all they had was their mother. And that's the difference with you. That's the difference with me and a lot of them. But go ahead.
Yeah, my father told me something. He said, once black men start holding each other accountable. So now I'll give you an example. When black men are holding each other accountable, other black men can't come into town and just start doing what they want. You can't just start sleeping around with women or just bringing drugs to the community, because you're going to get stepped to, because you have black men holding black men accountable. See, this is the part we don't realize. We turn around and say, the black woman, oh, she having these babies, she acting crazy. I said, well, wait a minute, brother. Before we get to the black woman, I need you to love me the way I love you. We need to love each other first as men. This ain't got nothing to do with no gay stuff. I need you to love me as a black man, because when you love me as a black man, you will hold me accountable. I'll hold you accountable. I ain't got to worry about what you trying to sleep with my wife when I turn my back. Because once we start doing that, we start creating rules and moralities within the communities. And most of our women that get in line, the ones that don't, you leave them where they at. We don't understand that because we've lost our roles, because the majority of us don't have fathers. The majority of us are growing up in the house for generations with big mama and auntie. So we don't even know what it is to be a man. And this is what's going on. So because of that, we don't understand white supremacy. White women by nature are survivors and adapters. This is the part that people don't realize. Women survive and they adapt to their surroundings, to whoever's in power. Women don't have standing militaries that go and take land and kill. They adapt to the alpha males that are in power. But since the time immemorial, that's the way women are survivors. Men move the crowd and make things happen. So that when you have warfare, is you destroy the alpha males and you have women raising up subordinate males to the alpha males that are in power. This is why black males today turn around and blame women for the conditions, because he don't even know what he's supposed to do. He don't even understand what his role is, because he's been emasculated and decultured. He don't understand that somebody came on the block and it's like my wife standing in front of me. And she's looking at me and I'm looking at her, and the white man is standing behind my wife with his hand behind her shirt telling me, my wife can't see him, but he's telling me, I got your woman, what you gonna do about it? Her mind belongs to me. What you gonna do about it? I provide everything for her. The only thing you can give her is sex. Everything else, I give her everything. But as men, we saying, what I'm supposed to do? Nigga, you're supposed to get out there and fight. You are the male. We've lost all of that train of thought. And most of these males hear me speaking now, they can't even conceptualize what I'm saying, Phil. They'll say, oh man, here he goes sipping again. No, I'm not. I'm trying to tell you, this is warfare. We on the battlefield. We gotta fight. We gotta fight to get our women and children back, to get our women's mind back from the state and from the elites. That's our job. And until we do that, we're not going to beat the onslaught of white supremacy.
Yeah, and a lot of men don't even understand when you're talking about the dynamic of women and that sort of thing, is that a man's supposed to be so sufficient for himself and financially secure that you don't have to look at your woman and say, I need you to work. You know what I'm saying? Like back in the day, the brothers, when the black family was strong, the black men took care of families like 8 kids, 10 kids, and then they want to say, well, we can't do that today. Man, BS. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. The thing is, you got to be more in line, and your finances got to be right. You got to choose the right business. You got to choose the right career. You got to strategically go to a trade school or college. You got to do everything strategically so you could take care of that family. Now, if your woman want to work, that's fine because she choose to. Like, I've seen women, bro, that's this. Like, they working because it's their choice. And they the happiest women ever. Say, my husband tell me if I want to work, I can work. If I can quit this job today, I can quit it. It doesn't bother me. Versus you look at a woman that have to be at work and she's tired and she angry and she's not in a good mood and she dealing with her kids. It's like night and day. So when that man is in control of his life, his finances, they know I ain't got to worry about the car. I ain't got to worry about the house. Because you think about it, when things fail, when a man's around, nobody look at that woman. They say, what kind of man you got? You can't, your kids don't got clothes. You look like you about to get kicked out this place. Like, we don't even understand the role of men because we have let the white supremacists come in and say, there's no such thing as gender roles. I don't even let them come over here and tell me anything about my community. I say, look, I don't care if you watch. I don't care. Do your thing. But you're not going to come over here trying to dictate to us and tell us how to think, because the majority of our problems is our people accepting your way of thinking. That's why we crazy right now.
Yeah, I agree with that. But this is the part of this is the onslaught. This is warfare. The warfare is to stop black men from thinking like leaders and rulers. We're docile men now. Or because we educate you, now we educate. Once you get educated within our systems, you don't even think. You don't have any thought of a culture, a black culture. You don't think black. You don't think anything what your ancestors went through. You now think and see the world through the lens of your white educators. So you know what they do today? Man, I don't need a black woman. The black man needs to be selfish and start thinking for himself. He can sleep with who he wants to. He can do what he wants. And I say, well, wait a minute. You said you were a black man, right? You want black men to get together to create something black. But you sleep with black women. Well, how in the world is it going to be still black 20, 30 years from now if you're not procreating with a black woman? So this is the insanity that's permeating through the minds of our men, because we've been downtrodden and beaten for so long. We say, okay, we got to get together, but we tired of, because see, this is the thing, Phil. We know that the system is set up against the black man, and the system is set up to divide the woman, because you got some out of control, crazy black women that use the system and manipulate the system in her way against black men. We know that happens, right? So now you have black men that gets upset and say, man, I'm done with black women. I'm going to get me an Asian woman. I'm going to get me a white woman. But then you acquiring wealth, black man. But 20, 30 years down the line, it's no longer black. It's no longer black. Because most likely, if you get with an Asian woman and you have a son, more than likely, or a white woman, you have a son, more than likely he's going to be with a white woman. He's going to be with the woman. He's going to get a woman that of the woman that nurtured him and raised him. Look at biracial relationships. The majority of black and white relationships, if there's a white woman and a black father, that boy is with a white woman. If it's a daughter and it's a black father and a white mom, the girl's with a black man. That's just the way it goes. So now you go get these Asian women and these white women, man, everything that you work for to keep black ain't gonna be black 30 years from now. You done pissed it away because you're not thinking black because you've been educated in this system that does not educate you to have any type of black empowerment. It decultures you. And this is the thing, they got mad at me when I said, and when I come into this aspect of the community, when I left the pro-black or the black power community and came into the greater community, I said, well, black men, I said, dog, we gotta stay black and keep everything black. They went crazy on me. Oh, here go this simp. I was a simp, I was a sucker. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. You just said that you want to have a black male empowerment community. Right. How the hell is we gonna have a black male empowerment community if we ain't keeping it black? So what you got to do is find a black women that think like you, sisters like Sister Nyla and them, that think like that, and you got to procreate with them and create a whole new nation and a whole new thought process.
Now let me ask you a question. Like I said, and I've got a couple of emails, and you know, I never put people. I wanted to read them, but I didn't. But I'm gonna talk about them here. So let's say if you have a brother, and I've got a few emails on this one. You have brothers that like got with females that say white women, or let's even just talk about white women. Got with some white women or whatever. Heard the message, maybe listen to a couple of brothers like you, and then all of a sudden now they like, man, I gotta start doing something for black people, right? But then he turns around and he looked like, dog, but I'm with her. So it goes like they have like they're torn, but they got kids, they all set up. What do you tell that black man?
Explain it one more time because I lost.
Okay, so before he maybe talked to a brother like yourself, right, and understood about his community, understood about anything, he just kind of was just doing his thing. Got with a white girl, right? The email I got. He came into knowing about, you know, the consciousness, read, you know, all the Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, all the different books they read. Now they understand, but they got kids. They got still this woman there. What would you tell that guy?
Well, I'll tell him, listen, let me say this. One thing I can't take away from anybody black that come from the conditions that we come from, I can't take away their blackness.
Right.
Their black experience is still their black experience. I believe that you could be a part of the struggle, but you can't lead. You can't be out in front because you're already compromised. Mm-hmm. You're going to always be down the middle because of the choices that you make, especially with that white woman. You know, I mean, we don't know the thought process of that white woman, the family she comes from. They can be like it's like Harry Belafonte, right?
Right.
Belafonte was instrumental in helping Dr. King, especially when the black church turned their back on Dr. King the last 2 years of their lives that them phonies don't like to talk about. They always want to venerate Dr. King, but they don't tell what they did to him in the last 2 years of his life. But Harry Belafonte was funding him. But Harry Belafonte understood that he could not be the face or the forefront because he was a black man, but he slept white. So what he did was he funded Dr. King under the table. And he also supported his children after Dr. King died. So yeah, you can do those things because we can't take away your blackness. I can't say I'm more black than you. You just decided to go to the other side. I don't know why you did it, but you did it. So now you've given up your right to be, because Dr. King didn't have a white wife. Malcolm X didn't have a white wife. Mm-hmm. Medgar didn't have a white wife. That's what I'm saying. Our leaders that was out in the forefront that was promoting black families. So you can't be in a multicultural or biracial relationship talking about talking about we supposed to create black families. That's a contradiction. But you can help. You can help because you might have made certain decisions in your life at a time, and then you might grow and say, damn, you know what? I was seeing things wrong. I got to come back home. That happens. It happens to women. It happens to dudes. And you know, it may be a tough road, like the sister, what's her, Irene or whatever. I seen, you know, she was getting a lot of vitriol from black because she decided to do that. And I don't know her personally. I don't know what her motives and intentions are. She's still a black person though. I mean, you know, so but you compromise. So no, you can't lead, but you can help. Yeah, you can help.
Yeah, because like I said, when I'm out there in the street, George, I run into all kind of people. And my thing is, I don't want to be the guy that's going to say something to a black woman or a black man. And the thing is, when they're really interested, they want to do something, you know, that's a moment that either they go all the way with it or they gonna go coon. We don't need them on
Yep.
coons. Like I said, I
No.
just posted a picture of Jesse Lee Peterson. Put on there, he got a thing talking about black on the outside and white on the inside, saying Jesse O. I don't know if you've seen that. Jesse had me laughing, but we don't need more Jesse Lee Petersons created. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to say, look, like you said, you can definitely help. It's definitely work. We can definitely use you for. I agree with that 100%. Hey, you know how to edit, you know how to do some marketing, you know how to, there's a lot of things you can put on the work to do, and it's not for
Yeah.
everybody to be in the forefront anyway. I hear people say
Right.
that a lot. I say everybody's not called to lead. That is a minimum amount of people that's called to lead.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. The problem that you have, let me find my words to put it wrong. When we were growing up, we didn't have social media. We
Right,
didn't have cell
right,
phones. And you had leaders that led. In today's time, well, the world was this big back in the day. Here I am in Philadelphia, right, which is probably the fourth, fifth biggest city in the country. You in Houston, they say Houston is bigger than Philadelphia. I beg to differ. I think because we're so stacked on top of each other, it's like damn near 2 million people stacked, y'all spread out. But where I grew up at, all the way across town in Southwest Philadelphia, if you go back to 1988, if you wanted to know what was going on in North Philly, you had to get in the car and drive up there, or get
right.
on the phone and call somebody and wait till they answer the phone and know what was going on in North Philly, or wait for the news. Nowadays, you can be everywhere at the same time. And it's a gift and a curse with that, Phil, because now you got everybody that shouldn't have a microphone talking, and they're becoming leaders. They're becoming leaders through these social media platforms, and they should not have an audience. They should not be talking. So it's doing us a disservice, because some of the people that need to be heard are not being heard, because you got these other people that got 2,000 and 3,000 people in their chat room, and they leading the people astray. They lead the people down the wrong river.
Mm.
And a lot of these people are coon sellouts. A lot of these people like your Candace Owens and what's the guy you just said? What's his name?
Jesse Lee.
Jesse Lee's and all these people, they know exactly what they're doing, Phil. They know racism exists. They still experience racism. But instead of fighting against racism, they'd rather find a comfortable spot in it.
Yeah, yeah, and let me tell you about that. Matter of fact, I'm gonna see Jesse Lee next month, and hopefully I run into Candace Owens because I got to charge her up. But for me, what I define as leader, like I said, I tell people in a minute, I'm not nobody's leader. I ain't leader, nothing. I know my position. My position is to be a general in the propaganda war. That's my position, because black folks, we've had so many leaders, but we don't have people fighting the propaganda war, and that propaganda war is what makes everybody throughout the world hate black Americans. Like, they even met us, but they hate us. Why? Because the white man has waged a propaganda war all his existence for everyone to hate us. And so we
Mhm.
have to combat that. So yeah, you're right. People like that, I don't think should have a voice, but at the same time, you can't stop it. So the voices that's prominent is going to have to just drown out those people. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I don't worry about everybody that has a YouTube channel or Facebook page. You're gonna have people lead you astray. It's your responsibility to make sure to check the words they're saying, to research. It's your responsibility, because some people are lazy. You're right. Some people are lazy and they just take what somebody say and they don't say, man, let me read up on what they're talking about. Because that's what I do. Like, somebody talk about something that interests me.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'm gonna give you an example, Phil. Yesterday I was listening to you and Sister Nala, right?
Okay.
Go in, right?
Okay.
I'm gonna show you the dysfunction of our people. The dysfunction of our people. Now, y'all were speaking on Colin Kaepernick, right?
Mm-hmm.
I did a video. People go and check my page about 8 months ago called "The Rise of the Mulatto."
Okay.
and how the government and elites are forcing a multiculturalism society, where back in the day we lived in segregated societies and they kept it separate. Now they're forcing us together, and there's a reason why they're doing that. Through gentrification, they give you a mulatto president. They have this mulatto kid taking a knee. Now I'm going somewhere with this because I'm gonna show you the dysfunction of our people, and I'm gonna double down on what Sister Nala said, but I'm a take it even harder. Let me explain something to y'all. Okay, Colin Kaepernick took a knee. That's fine. Okay, fine. Yeah, you took a knee. You looked around and you seen injustices. I'm not impressed, and I don't. Anybody know George? I don't mix words. Listen, I'm not impressed. You are a government plant sent there to cause division and confusion amongst the people, and our people don't even know we bamboozled. He's not the first one. Like I said, you had Craig Hodges, and he was ostracized from the league. You had Mahmoud Rauf. You had many of people that had a voice that was forced out. When Jesse Williams made that speech on BET and everybody went crazy, that was another mulatto. This is the rise of the mulatto. You look at the NBA and you got all these mulatto players. They're normalizing these so-called mulattoes in your mind. Now, George, why are you saying this? It was a period of time when all mulattoes was considered black. Talk to the mulattoes now. I'm not black. I'm confused. I never felt I was accepted over here. I never felt I was accepted over there. And I'm like, nigga, your ass is black. You was always black when I was growing up. The mulatto was a black child.
Yep.
Wasn't accepted by whites. But they're normalizing a new ethnic group right in front of your face. And this is why they allow Jesse Williams to make the speech. This, and whenever you see the mulatto kids, 90% of the time it's the black father and the white mom together. And they make sure that they show it to you. So now, why am I saying this? Colin Kaepernick has a black father, allegedly. We didn't never seen him. We don't know. He never even met him. He has a white mother who gave him up and was raised by a white family, never been to the ghetto, never lived the black experience. Never. But there was another brother that took a knee with him named Eric Reed. That brother took a knee with him. That brother's ostracized from the league. That brother was 26 years old. That brother doesn't have a job. The majority of black people don't even know who he is. He's a black man, black parents, lived the black experience, came from the ghetto in the hood, understood what it was like to be oppressed by the cops. But black people don't even know his name, don't even know who he is, but you've been bamboozled into understanding the Colin Kaepernick mulatto agenda. He didn't have a $100 million contract. He was on his fifth year. He hasn't played in a year and a half. He still don't have a job now. Are black people talking about Eric Reed? No, because you're caught up in the matrix system that they devised to force this multiculturalism society that our people don't even know because we don't understand what white supremacy is. And I keep telling people this. So now he got this Nike deal. Where the hell is Eric Reed's Nike deal? Black people don't even know who he is because we so caught up in the Colin Kaepernick. We got to get our head out of our behinds and understand that these people are government plants to draw you in, to make them more money. So now they give them a Nike deal and they just made $3 million with their marketing schemes. Because the best way to keep black people in a subordinate role is the way they market us to the world. So now we got sympathy and we love Colin Kaepernick, but we don't even know who the hell Eric Reed is. This is what they've done to us, man. And we don't even get it. So the hell with Colin Kaepernick.
Well, actually, Nike made $6 billion. I said that earlier, ever since they came out with that Colin Kaepernick ad. And if black people was expecting Nike to be on this rah, we for the black community, then you crazy as hell. My thing is, like somebody said in the chat room, that $6 billion could have went to, fixing issues in our community. It could have, completely, and yet it has not done that. Now I know I'm still trying to figure out what his change was, because he wasn't, like you said. I know his history. I know who his adopted parents are. I even know who his mother is because I seen the mother going back and forth with him on Twitter, going off on him. Right. So his girl is Egyptian. Her name, I think she on Hot 97. Nessa,
Yeah,
you ever seen her?
like that.
So she talks like, about black folks all the time. Well, say she's from the continent, but she gets with him, and I don't know if she was the one that got him to start thinking more like that. I that's what I'm assuming, because he wasn't talking like that before.
We see, black people, we've been beaten down so much. We we in so much pain. Like we always looking for something to make us feel good.
Mm-hmm.
We want a good sermon. We want a good story. We want something to make us feel better instead of looking at the bigger picture. First of all, she's not a Negro. She's not a North American Negro. She doesn't fully identify with our plight. Somebody said in the chat room, what about the money that he's giving? He ain't the only black person. He ain't the only person that's giving money. You got many black athletes that's giving thousands and millions of dollars, but it's not promoted. You know, Jalen Rose got a school in Detroit. They don't even talk about it. So like, miss me with that stuff. This is an agenda that they're pushing on you guys, and y'all don't get it, man. And this is the sad part. This is why they made Steve Coakley kind of crazy. They said Steve Coakley was crazy when he was opening up and telling, oh man, this dude is crazy. Next thing you know, he turned up dead. Listen, man, you are being bamboozled. You're being bamboozled. This guy, okay, you know what? You took a knee. I got it. Listen, okay, fine. That's not saying that I hate all mulatto children. I don't hate all mulatto children. But I hate the agenda that's being pushed that I can clearly see where they're pushing gentrification in these multiculturalism societies. They're normalizing, and now I can get into why they're doing that, but that's for another show.
Right.
I'll break that down. Why the elites are doing it. There's a reason why the elites are doing it. There's a reason why you seeing they propping all these LeBron James and the Kevin Durant and them are on their way out of the league. Now you have the Ben Simmons and all these stars now are all multiracial, Blake Griffins and all these are in the cameras now. They're promoting these. There's a reason why they're doing that. There's a reason why you having the Drakes all over the place and the J. Coles, and you have to pay attention to what they're promoting. So now with the sports, you have the Colin Kaepernick thing. So now everything is being pushed down through a multiculturalism and agenda. This ain't the first. Black people been doing this forever. We've been protesting. But it went on deaf ears. Now this went everywhere. And you have to understand, and I still need the people to tell me in the chat or anybody that see this video, where is Eric Reed? Where is the protest from the black community for Eric Reed? And you wonder why black people become coons. Because you know what that brother probably say? Fuck the black community, excuse my language. I took a knee and y'all don't even know who I am. I'm 26 years old. I just did something that I thought was right. Where are my people? Why don't y'all have my back? Y'all don't even, when I walk the street, y'all don't even say, good job, brother. Y'all don't even know who I am. But y'all know who Colin Kaepernick is because the media keeps him in the cameras. The media, Elijah Muhammad always said, be careful of these so-called black people that the white Zionist media keep on their cameras. They're compromised. You're being used, abused, and bamboozled. I keep telling people, I don't give a damn about no Colin Kaepernick. The hell with Colin Kaepernick. I'm like Mahmoud Raouf and them. The real black people that protested that they didn't put in the cameras. The ones they took off camera, the ones they stopped showing, the ones you had to ask, Dan, what happened to him? Those are the ones that wouldn't take the check.
Well, let me take it a step further. I did a video breaking down and I titled it the interracial agenda, and I'm gonna put that link. It's on. I put it on Black Junction, and I put that link underneath George's channel once the stream is done. If you guys want to go watch that, and based in my video, I pointed out the interracial agenda in America is about black folks and white folks. Because they aren't having children. They're using our genetics to keep them around, basically. And if it was truly about this, oh, love is love or whatever, I was pointing out in that video that they don't show black folks with Asians like they do with black and white. They don't show black folks with Arabs or Native Americans or any other non-white group. It's always black and white. And this is done worldwide right now. They're really pushing white men with black women, black men with white men. I mean, yeah, they pushing that too. Let me not say that. They pushing that too. But black men with white women. And it's everywhere. And if you mention anything against that one union, now you could talk about black and Asian, black and Hispanic, black and Native. Nobody will say nothing. But the moment black people are talking against that one union, people getting their Facebook pages taken down. They getting trolled. You remember when Umar Johnson made that comment on the Breakfast Club, how they just went at him for saying that. And I say, oh, okay. That's when I realized it's an agenda. That one union is an agenda. I figured that one out. That's for sure. Because like you could look at that girl, Cardi B, right? she with that rapper Offset. They don't be propping them up like they will prop up a black and white couple. They don't, you know what I'm
Why?
saying? I thought about that. Like because they say, oh well, that's still too Negro-ish for us. We got to make sure it's this. And you talking about women are survivors. I know, and this is what I'm trying to figure out. They can't make children anymore. If you look at their global birth rates, it's down. But the moment they get with a black man, or if that man gets with a black woman, now all of a sudden they're having children. And I just believe that union is built for their genetic survival.
Well, let's do it this way. Let's look at America. On my video, when I did the rise of the mulatto, I explained this white woman. Right? And I want y'all to stay with me for a minute because I ain't taking up for the white woman, but I gotta explain it this way. So that way you can understand just how demonic some of these people are, in my opinion. The white woman, when a white man was making his conquests, he went to South America, he went to the Americas, he went into Asia, India, and put his drop seeds everywhere, right? He created Latinos. He was instrumental in creating Latinos also with us in the mixture. He came to America. A lot of us, so-called, if you go by the so-called DNA, have at least 15 to 25% by average European DNA in us. And it normally goes back, if you go back to about fourth or fifth grandfather is a white male within our DNA structure. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Within our DNA. Now, they understood what they created when they created the so-called Negro people, when they so-called began to create the generations of Negro people. Look at the empire that they created when they came to America off of mixing with us. And they understood they built a multi-whatever empire by going here, going into South Africa, and mixing with these people, these super people. So now the white woman, she's seen the empire that the white man has created over time, and now she wants in. So now she's been rebelling against her man for generations. And now they're pushing this multiculturalism society because now they're pushing the white woman, getting with the black man and producing these children, these Colin Kaepernicks, these Ben Simmons, these Drakes, and all these different things. And now they're promoting it all over again, right in front of your face, the same way they did it with the white male, with the black woman, when we had our exception with these people. Now they're doing it with the white woman and the black man. See, because so now you have to understand this white woman, she ain't seeking to topple the empire. She's seeking to take control of it. And she hates black women. So she goes after these white men. She goes after these black men any way she can. But this is another form of white supremacy that we don't get because we asleep at the wheel. You're seeing all these white women now popping up with these black men. Why are they going after these black men? What are they producing? And why is the media showing these black kids? This didn't just start because these kids are coming on TV grown. So they've been doing this for the last 20, 25, 30 years. But it's happening right in front of your face. So it's like black people, the black couple is inside a cage. And the white women, the man is outside the cage fighting with each other over which one they're going to get, over how they're going to get us. You know what I'm trying to say? They're fighting over us, and we're not even realizing it. And we're watching them fight over us, and we're inside the cage fighting each other as well, instead of watching them fight over us and us coming together to get the hell away from these people. Because they're building empires off of us, and we ain't even getting it. He built the empire off of the womb of the black woman and producing that Negro child that came out. This is what happened. So now they're doing the same thing with this white woman because they're not producing babies in order for them to survive. And they're promoting now this multiculturalism society, mainly black and white children, mulatto children. This is what they're doing. Black people ain't smart enough to realize this stuff, and say, let me get away from this. I ain't sleeping with that white woman because I know we at war. I'm not sleeping with that white man. I know we at war. We ain't getting it. All you got to do is open your eyes, take the veil off your eyes, and look at what they're doing. They're promoting mulatto children everywhere. And the dominant society don't do nothing without a profit or for nothing. There's a reason why they promote it.
Right. And then, I'm going to tell you about this because I study people. You look at all this plastic surgery that a lot of, the Caucasian women are getting now. Back in the day, white women would only get their breasts done. That's by far as they would go. It would be nothing else. Now they're getting, butt jobs. They injecting their lips on side of breasts and getting hip work done. I mean, and I say, like, why are these women morphing themselves into a black woman?
Because
Like I would say you ain't doing it for a white man, because white men traditionally don't like that look. They like the Tommy Lauren look, them boy body looks. That's what they like. Okay, so why are you morphing? You like it's like the word went out. Hey, start morphing yourself to look like black women. The same women you said their lips was too big and it's nasty and their butts was too big, and all of a sudden you paying money, you're tanning yourself to get darker and all this other stuff, and then you see them. They all up in black men's face. That's why when some sisters say, "Oh, you black men chasing white women," say, "No, it's not like that." I say, you be minding your business, and if you a brother that got something going on, these women gonna come after you. You ain't got to go after them.
Yeah, well, yeah, and they do because there's an agenda, and they know that they're dying off. See, this is the thing. It was a period of time when they was able to keep so-called races divided, but you can only do that but for so long. And one thing for me, something that I teach, one thing that really broke this racial barrier big time was hip hop globally, because it started to bring generations of children together that probably wouldn't have come together. And this is just something that I teach. In my opinion, people can disagree with that, but that's my opinion. And when I was growing up, I didn't really live around white people like that. My only indoctrination to white women was from porn. I didn't see white women like that just walking down the street. Hell, not where I grew up at. You got to be crazy. Not in Southwest Philly. They not going, unless you lived on the poor white side, which was by the airport. But no, we lived in segregated societies. Now they're pushing it because they are at zero birth rate, and they're trying to now live through this new so-called ethnic group, which is the mulatto in America. So that's not me saying that I'm crapping down on so-called all mulattoes, because all mulattoes don't think that way. You got some mulattoes in history that has went hard for black people than most of the jet black people.
Right.
You got some mulattoes in history that went hard. Don't get it twisted. I'm only speaking about the agenda that they're producing today of today's mulattoes. They don't even call themselves that. They call themselves something, a whole different ethnic group. They're not neither one of us. They something different. But that's being promoted through the media. These kids that came out that was mulattoes, that was light skinned with the little afro or whatever, they was considered black. They was rejected by the white society. Not now. Not now. There been a Drake or J. Cole wouldn't have been accepted by the white society. He'd have been a Negro. So we gotta pay attention. We gotta pay attention to what's going on. Those red bones in the hood back in the day that we all used to chase, man, they was in the hood with you because they was black. I even take it a step further. I live on the East Coast. The Puerto Ricans lived in the hood with you because they was considered niggas with straight hair.
Yep.
White people didn't accept them. That's why I can't speak for the West Coast, because I know the division between the black and Mexicans. But on the East Coast, Puerto Ricans is like my brothers. I don't see Puerto Ricans as no different from me, because Puerto Ricans lived in the hood with us, got money with us, had babies with us. They was the same. They was our cousins. They was our people. So to me, because that's just what it was. If you look at the early days of hip hop, who was creating hip hop? It was black and Puerto Ricans, because we lived in the projects together. White people didn't accept them. They was niggas. They abandoned them too. So now what I'm saying is, they're creating a new ethnic group where it's really the same, but they're calling it something different because it's a different agenda. That's what I'm speaking to. And that's what we got to understand. We got to understand the way white supremacy works. And with that being said, now you got all these different groups where everybody thinking that they're different because of what they're doing in the media. Where back in the day, your ass was black and brown, your ass was black, period. Now everybody say, I ain't this, I'm that. If you had a Dominican that came to America in the 70s, he was a fucking black person. Now, I'm not black, I'm Dominican. What the fuck, man? Sit your ass over there in the corner, dummy. Seriously, because this is what they've done to us now. This is what they've done to us now. But that's to dwindle our numbers, to keep us separate.
Yep, and like you said, the same thing about California. Like when I grew up here in Texas, it wasn't no beefs with blacks and Mexicans here, at least at the time period I grew up. So I grew up with some of them in my neighborhood too. And everybody was the same. You know what I'm saying? Everybody chill. Everybody went to each other's house here and there, even in the hood. You had a few of them living there. So, I mean, I get it now. Like I said, I think today everybody's more separate today. And I think that's done by design by the white man, because he don't want people to rise up against him, because it doesn't make sense why all these non-white groups pitting against each other or even pitting against us. Like, we ain't done you crap. We're not oppressing you. We're not deporting you. We're not doing anything. But yeah, a lot of y'all against us now. Like, that's stupid. But alongside of that, in which you brought up a lot of good points today, George, and you definitely hit the ball out the park for me. I can't say it. I'm looking at the chat rooms. That's for sure. Definitely. You always welcome to come back, have more conversations. George brought the heat today, ladies and gentlemen. He brought it. George, tell people how can they get to your channel so they can get some more of that fire from you, brother.
Just subscribe to George Macon. That's the name of my channel. Just George Macon, man.
All right. Well, we'll put his description, his link in the description box once everything gets processed. And also I'm gonna put my link to my video underneath that, so you guys can go see that video I told you about I made called The Interracial Agenda on Black Junction TV. I'll put that there because that video was too much for YouTube, so I had to go ahead and switch it over there. We got to be a little bit smart. I can put look, George, on Black Junction, you can talk about everything you want over there. They don't care. Like, so I even know the owner of the site. So it's.
Hey, which one you said was too much for YouTube?
That the Interracial Agenda video I posted.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I was hitting home. I put a lot of clips. I put a lot of stuff in it. It was too much for them. They couldn't handle that truth. So I'm gonna put that link, like I said, to my video, The Interracial Agenda, underneath George's link for his channel. Make sure you subscribe. Go like his page. Click the notification button. Talk to Brother George. Let him know you're there. Say, hey man, I saw you on Phil's channel, man. I'm glad to be here. And George, like I said, we're gonna chop it up again, brother. Like I said, you one of the brothers that bring that fire, man. I'm glad you're here.
I just want to say just real quick before we go, I just want with the title of White Black Men Surviving. Black men, please study and learn the difference between white supremacy and white hate. The only way you're going to be able to fight the system is understanding the system that you're fighting and understanding how it operates. Black men, don't worry too much about right now what the sisters are doing, and just understand what I'm saying. Worry about what the brothers are doing. Get the brothers together. We begin to move in unison. The ones that are conscious and the ones that are woke. Let's start to be an example, because I believe by nature and by experience, when black men begin to get right, the sisters is watching us, and a lot of sisters are waiting for us to get on code. When we get on code, a lot of our sisters will begin to get on code. You already got a lot of sisters that's on code. But a lot of our sisters need to know that they can trust us. A lot of our sisters need to know that they can rely and count on us, not through the lens of white supremacy or the standards of what the white man created. Because some of our sisters are woke that understand this stuff. So we got to show that we can unify amongst black men and begin to move in unison to create something where our sisters can say, I feel protected, I feel loved, and I feel wanted. And then we got to begin to lead by examples. The same way they give you the Cardi B's and the Nicki Minaj's and the these young rappers, the Migos that everybody follow. If we're conscious, we got to create models where our people can begin to follow. It starts with us. We got to create the models. And black man, I believe it starts with you, because you carry the seed of forever inside of you, and the black woman gives birth to the nations. But the black woman, you can't plant a seed in the soil properly if we ain't holding each other accountable. If we ain't got no rules or strict rules as men, the way we treat each other. And then we go and we begin to plant seeds in the soil. We begin to go court out the right woman. And we got to raise up our men. We got to teach our men how to court a woman and what type of woman he should be looking for. What is your standard in the woman, black man? We got to change your whole consciousness, your whole mind, your whole way of thought, the way you see yourself. Because the way you see yourself is the type of woman you're going to pick, black man. And when we begin to build black men up that way, things will begin to change. I rest on that.
All right, so you heard George giving y'all that heat, man. I mean, George, he been hollering at me for a while to get on, but like I said, I've been hearing George talk, so I had to let him come grace y'all with a Sunday blessing, So we want to bless George and his family, his children, and that he have a great week. So, ladies and gentlemen, say thank you for joining us on the show. I'm gonna go over there probably a little later with O'Shea and them on the Sunday Rumble show. a
Oh my
little later.
God. It's gonna be crazy over there.
Yeah. It's gonna be. I think Dr. Moomy gonna be over there with him too on the Sunday Rumble, so that's gonna be interesting. So guys, if you watching his channel, you go check that out maybe later. I think around 2:30, 3 o'clock somewhere on his channel. If you subscribe to his channel, so thank you everyone for listening, and see you on the next stream.
Peace.